is 5 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Sean Callan, Julie Chetney, Tom Chapa, here. Jim McKenzie,
Here.
Sean Onmacht, Tim Rice,
Here.
Jennifer Salazzo,
Here.
and Leah Norton.
Here.
If you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And at this time, we would like to have every retiree, when we call your name, come up. If the board members could go with Ray up to the front, and Julie will have the certificates. Yes, I think, Leah, you should be. Yes, of course. Yes. So as I said before, we have over 600 years of service in all our total with our retirees. So when your name is called, if you'd please come up and receive your certificate. Lynn Pratt, Sherry Diloff, Marty Woolworth, John Kimball, Timothy Wink, yeah. Paulette Pinozzo, Joyce Fisher, Amy Purse, Susan Michaud, Linda Murdoch, Sherry Defoe, Jacqueline Pfeiffer, Yolanda White, Sharon Dowling, Laura Stevens, Sandra Skasha, Mary Volkemer, Elizabeth Morja, Patricia Stepien, Barbara Carroll, Teresa Vertoliva, Sandra Kunzweiler, Lisa Roman, Peggy Ann Corbett, Denise Capron, Heather Sweeting, Todd Simons, Stacy Devendorf, Bradley Shannon, Teresa Donovan, Benjamin Richardson, Karen Fox, Cheryl Beck, now we come to our salutatorian and valedictorian for most years of service in the district. Our salutatorian, Linda Taylor, school bus driver for 40 years of service. And our valedictorian, Stephen Braun, theater manager, 40.25 years of service. If it could we be, okay. And now Julie would like to read a little something.
Good evening. I just wanted to come up here. I've been thinking a lot about all of you and your profession in general. And as I sat down last night, I found myself reflecting as a parent, not so much a school board member. For more than 2 decades, these schools have been a part of my life. I've had 4 children move through the district, and their journeys could not have been more different. Some exceeded academically, some received special education services and support, and some needed care and assistance from our school nurses along the way. They played sports, instruments, they sang, they participated in clubs and activities. But as a parent, I celebrated successes, worried through challenges, sat through concerts, games, attended parent-teacher conferences, and trusted the people in our school with the children that I love most. As I reflected on those experiences, I realized something. When parents look back at their children's school years, we don't remember homework or assignments or quizzes or even report cards. We remember people. We remember the teacher who inspired a child, the bus driver who greeted them every morning, the nurse who cared for them when they weren't feeling well, the counselor who listened, the coach who believed in them, the aide who offered extra support, the librarian who helped them find the love of reading, and a custodian who smiled and said hello in the hallway. We remember the people who made our children feel seen, supported, challenged, encouraged, and cared for. And that's why tonight matters. When people think about schools, they often think about teachers first, but the truth is that educating a child takes an entire community, and I believe that's what our district does. It's the kindergarten teacher helping a child to learn to read, a high school teacher prepping them for life after graduation. It's math, science, English, social studies, music, PE, literacy. It's all of it. It's the principals and the administrators who lead our schools, and the counselors and the psychologists and the social workers who help them navigate all of the challenges. It's the secretaries who keep our schools running smoothly, and the bus drivers who safely transport them. The cafeteria workers and the cooks who ensure students are nourished and ready to learn, and the custodians and maintenance staff who create safe, clean, and welcoming environments where learning can take place. Every role matters, every person matters, and every interaction matters. No child is shaped by one person. In over 13 years, for many of our kids, it's built through 1,000 of interactions with people like you. Each interaction may seem small in the moment, but together they help shape who these kids really became. That's your legacy. Tonight, I want to congratulate all of you on a successful career, no matter what your role was with our district. And I thank you for help shaping the students of our district.
And I know we're going to do it, but I still want to get a picture if we can with everybody. We may get a picture.
Yeah, so if everyone could come up for a quick group picture, that'd be great.
Okay. Seeing that we have no, well, I'll let you guys move out. Thank you. We have no floor to the public, so we move on to acknowledgements and recognitions, and I believe Julie. I went it down. Julie.
Okay, we're going to start with Minetto Elementary. Our sixth grade students enjoyed a wonderful field trip to Camp Hollis on June 2nd. Before their visit, Jim Fafaya, former director of Camp Hollis, shared the rich history of the camp with the students, making the experience even more meaningful. During their time at the camp, students hiked, kayaked, painted rocks, played games, and soaked up the sunshine while spending time with friends. It was truly a fun and memorable day for all. In athletics, on Wednesday, tomorrow, June 10th, at 6 p.m. in the theater, the Buck Boosters will be holding their annual Athlete Award Night. Join us to honor our student athletes, Hall of Fame inductees, and congratulate our scholarship winners and applaud our team honorees. All Buck athletes, students, parents, and community members are invited. At Charles E. Riley, the Riley Planting Day took place. Their garden is growing. A huge thank you to our Home and School Association, the Garden Committee, our retired teacher, Terry Stacy, for helping our students plant a beautiful mix of flowers, fruits, and vegetables. Our Riley Kid Garden is a true reflection of what our community stands for. Second grade karaoke. June Fun Days kicked off with a bang. Our second graders started the celebration by showing off their best vocals during an epic round of classroom karaoke. Also at Riley, they held their spring orchestra concert. It was a beautiful evening of music. Mrs. Evans led our orchestra through a fantastic performance that had the whole audience hooked, especially during a lively rendition of Eye of the Tiger. Instrument introduction. Our third graders got a hands-on look at what the world of music this week. A big thank you to our band and orchestra teachers for hosting an introduction session to help our students learn about and choose their future instruments. At Fitzhugh Park, FPS students found their voice as they reviewed the 7 leaders of ME habits during our recent assembly. Their enthusiasm, Leader in Me, sorry. Leader in Me habits during our recent assembly. Their enthusiasm, leadership, and commitment to these habits were on full display. At Kingsford, thank you to our KPS Home and School and the Press Box for hosting and organizing the KPS Sun Quest. It was a beautiful day for some friendly competition among teams and a wonderful time for students and parents to connect within our community. At the high school, on May 29th, students from NHS, WBUC TV, and Paradox Yearbook participated in a leadership summit. The day featured keynote speaker Paul Minch, who spoke to students about what it means to be a leader in his journey. On June 5th, students from WBUC TV were ferried to the Oswego Lighthouse for a tour through the National Marine Sanctuary grant received last year. The day also consisted of a tour of H. Lee White Maritime Museum, thanks to the staff and volunteers that made this possible. And lastly, at the high school, Coasters, Rock and Roll, and Memories to Last a Lifetime happened over the weekend. The OHS class of 2026 took on Ohio for their senior trip, chasing thrills at Cedar Point to exploring the iconic Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Our seniors had an unforgettable time celebrating together. Even a little rain couldn't dampen their spirits. In upcoming events, the OHS Merit Awards ceremony on June 11th at 1:45, and the OHS Scholarship Awards will be on June 11th at 6 p.m. Both events will be live streamed on WBUC's YouTube page. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Julie. Now we move on to Leah Norton, our student representative.
Hello. Hi. So I also wanted to mention the senior trip. I just wanted to thank the board for approving the trip and letting us go. It was a great time, and we all made some great memories, even with a little bit of rain. And also thank Mrs. Gills and all the chaperones who volunteered their time to come help us out. We couldn't have done it without them. congratulations to all the students who've had concerts. I believe the season is officially over, so congrats to some really amazing concerts. Congrats to all the kids who made Top 100. That ceremony was last week. Then the Scholarship and Merit Award ceremony is this Thursday. And Student Council last year started something which was called the Faculty and Staff Super Buck Awards. And we're doing it again this year. So it's something to celebrate the teachers. The students have a Google form, and they vote on different things like best dressed or like teacher, just really mentioning teachers who have a big impact on all the students. And then tomorrow night is the Athletics Hall of Fame induction and awards ceremony. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Now we move on to Board of Education. We have two items. Item A is accepting the calendar for the Board of Education meeting calendar dates for 26-27. Could I get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Tim. Could I have a second? Thank you, Jen. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item B is a tentative agreement summary of the 2026 to 2029 OCTA Classroom Teachers Association 2 from July 26 to June 30th, 2029. Could I get a motion for that, please?
Move it.
Thank you, Tim. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Julie. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And this time is for the superintendent's report. Dr. Kilmer.
Well, I'm going to invite up, we have a number of building administrators that are going to come forward and present their spring update for their building action plans from the 25-26 school year. And so, Matt, would you see who's first? I believe Kingsford Park might be first. And yes, Mrs. Petrolito.
Good evening. I'm happy to be here and to spend just a few minutes with you reporting out on our building goals from this year and then next steps. One of the things that I do want to point out, I know that we always go back to the mission, vision, and core values, but in our building, we've done a lot of work this year. So it's not directly related to maybe the goals that we set, but we are connecting those ideas. And at our faculty meeting today, I talked about how all of the work that we do moving forward needs to be rooted in our mission, vision, and core values. And so the goals and the work that we're doing towards making progress towards those goals, we always want to remind ourselves that this is the why. And so the work, we want to see this in action, not just a poster on a wall somewhere. All right, I'll give you a minute just to look those over. So school culture and climate, we looked at, as a reminder, engagement and safety as areas that we wanted to try to improve in, and that was based on the results from the climate survey last year. Once we have the climate survey data available from this year, we'll be able to do a comparison. But in the meantime, you'll see that we did do a Google Form survey with students to still identify some areas of our strengths and areas for growth. Student success, we were really focused on improving our Tier 1 and Tier 2 instructional practices, and that was so that we could see some growth on our universal screeners. So I'll share that data with you. Community connections, we were looking at trying to increase attendance at events. We realized that we had no baseline data to really go on, so I don't have numbers for you, but I did poll parents to get some feedback on just ways that we could maybe change things so that we are getting more participation and it's not always the same families that are showing up for events. And then operational systems, our KPS dashboard, we just wanted to get an idea of how many people are really using it and is there any information that I should be providing to staff that maybe isn't available. So from our Google Form survey that we used this year, overall, these were our strengths. 75.9% of students had a strong sense of safety, and this was only in grades 2 through 6. That's where that 167 students who participated in the survey comes from. only 6 students saying no, but when I was sharing this data out with staff, even if there's a small number of students, we always want to strive for, we want all of our kids to feel safe. So looking at that as, okay, we're doing pretty well, but not to those individual, 6 students. So we want to figure out what we can do better so that all kids are feeling safe and that all kids feel like their peers are being caring and kind. I will say one of the action steps, we really focused back in on the KPS expectations, being safe, respectful, and responsible, problem solvers, reminders to always be kind, and staff really has embraced using that language when we're addressing behaviors with students, and it's been helpful. I've noticed just through observation how kids will, when you ask them, was that kind, they can recognize right away, no, it wasn't, and explain why. And they also are recognizing each other when they're seeing their peers demonstrating our KPS expectations. So that's one way that we've continued to support this goal throughout the year, is to have kids really have some self-efficacy over how they're treating each other. So our areas for growth, again, it's that kindness piece, and then engagement in their schoolwork as well. So moving forward, teams are really going to be focusing more when they're meeting and collaborating and talking about how they can create more authentic learning experiences aligned to that portrait of a graduate outcomes. And we're also looking at a building of ways to increase enrichment opportunities. So in addition to our assemblies, right now, a lot of stuff, they do Fun Fridays, but looking at ways that we can make those Fun Fridays more about learning and student engagement and have students have some more choice and voice in the classroom. Some students did talk about feeling anxiety and address like feeling time pressures to get work done. So we do have some changes that we're making to the schedule for next year that will hopefully help with that. And some other feedback from kiddos on that survey was that a lot of kids don't always come forward and report when there's somebody maybe not being kind to them. So in the office, I'm going to implement a way of quiet self-reporting so that more students might come forward so we can figure out who needs some support and help. All right, so for our student success data, we strove pretty high with our goal. We wanted 100% typical growth. So what that means is that it shows that a student grew 1 year. So if I'm in first grade, that by the end of first grade, I'm reading at the entering second grade level. So we wanted 100% of students to show typical growth. We're at about 64% right now. So that just means we're going to continue with that goal. We're not going to move on from it. But there were some grade levels that made some shifts in terms of how they were providing interventions to students. And those grade levels did see the biggest bang for their buck. And we had students that not only were just average typical growth, but had more of a stretch growth. So groups of kids that were growing, over a year's worth of growth in one school year. So that was pretty impressive. And again, we have some things in place for next year that will help support that collaboration so that we can continue to see that data grow. And it was the same for math. So 198 students met 100% typical growth. So not every student, but we're on the right track. And we did have a lot of students that showed more stretch growth, so went beyond that typical growth. Community connections, I just went on Parent Square to make sure that we have a lot of parents, signed up and they're utilizing and being reached. And we're doing really well in terms of parents getting email, but I'm curious, one of the things that I want to do is get some more feedback on making sure that they're getting the information from me that they need. So one of my next steps is to survey them at the end of the year and get an idea of what else they want to hear from me. But right now, what feedback I have received from parents on a poll that I sent out was looking at what we could do to have more parents attend events, looking for some feedback. And this was some of the specific points that they made. They appreciated the advance notice, roadblocks to accessibility. So working with the HSA we have, the the daughter dance, and then the son quest. But one of the suggestions that came up quite a few times was instead making those inclusive and not having separate for males and females. So that's something I'll bring back to the HSA as well. And also a need to parents want to help and be involved more. And so saying like, we would love to volunteer for some of these events. Operational systems, this was pretty easy. Our KPS dashboard I thought it would be funny to say, what is the KPS dashboard when I sent the survey out? And 4 people replied that they didn't know what it was. But I can assume that could be somebody that maybe is not a teacher or a teaching assistant, but maybe like somebody that responded that maybe works in food service, and they wouldn't really know that was there. So I was unable to I didn't have people put their names on the survey, so I really don't know who answered that. But one of the pieces of feedback that we did receive that I thought was really helpful is our new teachers. A lot of times when we're new, I experienced this being new to the district this year, people talk about things, we assume that everybody knows what we're talking about, and teachers were saying that the new teachers, they weren't even really sure what the KPS dashboard was. So that's just something that ongoing every year, reminding people where it's at, what information is on there so they can access it. Any questions?
I just have one question. There was a slide a whole bunch back.
A whole bunch back?
A whole bunch back, and it was quick. 30% of kids did not feel like learning was fun. Was that that one? Oh, interesting. Okay, I just wanted to read that, sorry. Is that broken down by grade level, or was that just overall in the school?
Overall for grades 2 through 6.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
So along the same lines with the survey, is this the first time it's been used, or has it been used in the past?
This particular survey, this was the first one this year, yes. Because the one that they did, I know there was a survey that was given last year to students, a Google form survey that was given, not the district climate survey, but a separate one that Dr. Volkemore did. But it wasn't the same questions. The Guiding Coalition created new questions this year. So again, I didn't have that baseline data to do a comparison. So once we have the climate survey data back this round, I'll be able to dive deeper and do a comparison from last year's climate survey data. And it'll be interesting to see how that pairs up with with the questions that we asked.
Sure. And on the test scores, you said for the English and the math, they were all 2 through 6? Grades 2 through 6?
No, the test scores were for everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we're putting so much effort now into kind of K through 2-3 literacy, right? Do we have an idea of those grade levels, and maybe if that subset, did they improve maybe a little bit better than 4, 5,
kindergarten
6?
actually, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I can say that the kindergarten showed tremendous growth. And a lot of that has to do around the RTI teachers really came in and supported the teachers in the classroom, and they focused on the essential standards. So they weren't pulling groups of kids out. They were going in and collaborating with the kindergarten teachers to give kids exactly what they need. So there are areas where they might need a little bit more support, and the growth was really impressive.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I was wondering, because if we see that early, it's kind of like that trickle up.
Yeah, oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We see those skills trickle up as we go, but if that's our focus, it may be that the upper grades are hiding a little bit of the progress we're making in some of those areas.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point, because when we were reviewing our data, we did notice that at one of the upper grades, we didn't see as much growth as we did in the primary grades. And so it definitely did impact our results overall. But then it also tells us that we just have some more work to do as, collectively to figure out why that is, because we want kids to continue to grow. We don't want it to stop at, Did I answer your question? All right, okay. Good? Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. I didn't touch it, I promise. Okay, great way to start, right? Okay, so we are going to revisit our goals from the beginning of the year. One of the things before we get into some of the data, I just wanted to look through and just comment really quickly on some of the strategies that we had in place and just make some comments in regards to where we might go from here. We did not, one of the strategies that we were hoping to get off the ground this year was to partner with the Empire State Service Corps mentoring program through SUNY Oswego. We're going to revisit that next year to see if that's going to still be a possibility. It's also extra support as mentors for students in our school. So we didn't get that off the ground like we had planned, but everything else in terms of strategies, we were able to see some significant gains. One of the things that we noticed over a 3-year period that we're slowly over time reducing the numbers of students that are chronically absent. I heard earlier that we have the best teachers. I think what's equally as important is that we have the students sitting in the seats across from the teachers. So we're working really hard on that. We've seen a lot of gains. It's starting to level off just a little bit, so some of the things that we're going to be looking at in the future. Some of us had an opportunity to visit the PLC Ambassador School in Windsor. So we had some really big takeaways about some of the things that are working for them to kind of rejuvenate and get some families and kids in school that have typically we've struggled with. The 63 students is equivalent to 49 families. So that's where we landed over there. This is a flyer that we share with home and school and our families. It lists by grade, just being fully transparent with families. Here we are, you have a first grader, here's where we are with attendance, our building overall attendance rate, the number of students with 17 or more absences, which would mean at this point in the year is chronically absent, and then the number of students that we have with perfect attendance. So we're going to continue with our pilot program. The hope is Your Counseling Compass. We're going to be super ambitious next year and schedule the counselors and social workers in classrooms once a week. So currently they're in once a month or every 2 weeks. The goal is to get them in there every month working with students and teachers. Create and form an attendance club, and then revamp our one-page resource of outside agencies that are available to our families to help support getting kids in the doors. So for ELA and math, I'll display the data, but for similarly, some of the things that we're addressing would actually address both areas. So one of the things that we're going to, we've reworked our master schedule for next year, so that was a big thing that's going to help us in terms of maximizing the instruction and the instructional time, the instructional day. We have created a 1-hour block of time within the day for teachers to collaborate so that we know exactly where kids are to help improve and help us make instructional decisions as a team. So this is our ELA data from beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. In kindergarten, we measured phoneme segmentation fluency, first grade, nonsense word fluency, and grades 2 through 6 oral reading fluency. So we're able to look across all grades where our gains were and in what areas that we need some additional support, or figure out what exactly was the block or the hurdle that we did make the gains in. Same for math. I did a little bit differently here. I had highlighted just some areas for us to focus on. A little bit differently in regards to in June, we measured number and operations as a building goal. We know that is the most foundational skill that goes all the way through grade 6. We know that the pieces that students are learning from pre-K and kindergarten on up are critical to where they grow each year. So what I did, if we look at first grade, because in kindergarten there is no prior year, so in first grade, same students. In first grade, 0% of the students demonstrated proficiency in the beginning of the year, 10% demonstrated proficiency middle of the year, 50% at the end of the year. The LY is last year, so same cohort of students. How did they finish off the year is kindergarten? And then that's all the way down the line in terms of that last year was where students finished the year before. Community connections, I talked a little bit about this already. We have not done our family engagement survey yet. We wait until the second or third week of June when we've finished all of our family events. Typically, we range between 200 to 275, 300 students at each family event. So we have a high participation, a lot of people coming in through the door. We will give them a QR code they can scan when they're there at our family field days. So there'll be two options. They'll get the QR code when they come in. If somebody happens to not attend on that day, the same survey will go out in Parent Square. So we're looking for feedback on our events. Some of the feedback we've gotten in the past is, don't make them all on Tuesday. Don't make them all at night. We need something during the day, so things like that. So we made a lot of shifts this year in offering a lot of different opportunities for our families to come in the door and celebrate with their students. I also heard someone say tonight, I think that it was one of the retirees or someone talking about that kids don't remember the math test. They don't remember the time that they got 100 on their math fact fluency or whatever that it is. They remember the people, they remember the experiences. I think that we want to create experiences for kids to want to be here first and foremost. Operational systems, we are going to, I'll show you the data for this first before I get into the pieces for next steps. These are the number of students that are enrolled at Layton in Connects Care. So there was an increase of students within our building that are enrolled in the medical services, an increase in the number of students who are enrolled for dental, and we're about to stay the same in terms of counseling service. So we're absolutely utilizing their services, and we see students all the time, kindergarten all the way through, walking by themselves to the clinic, getting their teeth cleaned or whatever is happening, and then walking back to class without even a skip in their day. So we're very grateful and fortunate that we have that on site. It's very easy for them to get there. We had an increase in crisis calls or behavior calls over last year. So what I had mentioned earlier is we're going to be proactive in our thinking in regards to getting counselors and our social worker in classrooms, trying to get ahead of what we know, what we experienced this year, and plan appropriately for that. And this is our absenteeism by month. So you can see there's been a steady decline in the number of chronically absent students by month. Any month that it has gone up, we look at just a lot of different things in regards to what's happening at that time. So some of them, it's hard to explain why March went up, January, cold weather, flu, colds, things like that. But in general, we've had a decline. Okay. Any questions?
No. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, I am going to fly right through this. So here are our goals for Charles E. Riley that we had made as a guiding coalition the beginning of the year. The first one is school culture and climate, something very near and dear to us. And we were hoping that our aim was going to be to increase the number of students that that will meet the grade level expectations with proficiency. We wanted to make sure that we ensured high quality teaching and being given timely feedback, as well as increasing that positive learning environment. These are some of our achievement highlights that we wanted to be able to have you be part of. We've really tried to maintain that instructional excellence. We have utilized some data-driven design, both from our data meetings in both ELA and math, as well as grade level meetings to make sure that we are talking about our common formative assessments and what we are going to do with that instruction going forward. Another one of our achievement highlights is our professional growth. There have been multiple opportunities that have been provided to us from both of our directors of literacy and math to come in and teach those essential standards, get them up to date, and then turnkey it for their classrooms. So there have been lots of focuses on our current practices and what else we can do to rope those students in for engagement, as well as offering a variety of trainings on multiple topics during our faculty meetings. It's a chance that I have a bunch of people right in front of me that we can turnkey some small kinds of topics. Our social emotional learning took a really great highlight this year. We took them out of the hands of the teaching, out of the hands of our counselors. We put them in the hands of our teachers, and we dedicated a really big structured time in the beginning of the year for our teachers to be able to create those SEL lessons for our students so that as things started to arise throughout the year, we had that common language to continue to refer back to across our board. And we also started a Riley RISE committee. Our RISE stands for Respect, Integrity, Safety, and Effort. And that Riley RISE committee was supposed to unify our set of expectations for behavioral supports throughout our building. We still have a long way to go, but it is the first time that since I've been here that we've been able to kind of sink our teeth into what our expectations are across the board and how we can make our students unified in the message that we need to send to them. That in turn will reduce our behaviors hopefully across the board. We have had some school-wide expectations with our framework, and we've also tried to gear our community gatherings once a month to meet those expectations. Our attendance data shows that our school-wide average was 90.7% in attendance. I have broken it down for you, kindergarten through 6th grade, including our preschool. But on the antithesis side, that also means that we have some work to do. Those are students that are in attendance. However, chronic absenteeism this year shook out at a 38.93%, which is the equivalent of about 167 students out of our 424. That's still a large number. What we have done is create a subsidiary group from our guiding coalition that is an attendance committee. We have been trying to come up with other ways that we can rope people in, including lots of communication with families to offer them support and how we can help them help their students get to school. We already have catapulted ahead to next year and have a framework that we're going to be designed, that already is designed, but we're rolling out to better help students track their own attendance as well as teachers track their own attendance. Our next steps for academic progress include a new schedule. We are embedding a Tier 2 in addition to our Tier 1 instruction, which basically means that our classroom teachers are going to be offering those ELA and math lessons in addition to some differentiated instruction, being able to meet the needs at all levels with some really appropriate interventions. We are looking forward to providing intentional enrichment in the coming year as well during some of those Tier 2 times, which has been missing this year. We are gearing toward our grade level, but what about the students that are at grade level and above? So that is one of our goals for next year. As far as feedback, there just was a survey given to all of our faculty and staff in an effort to increase morale and climate for all of our stakeholders. And in the fall, there will be a student survey also administered so that we can create an action plan to address some of the student needs as well. As far as cultural transformation for next steps, we have already, our Riley Rises committee has already gathered and sent to the printers some really positive behavioral expectations and recognitions that we're going to have for all of our students next year. We have increased public relations and celebrations that are going to be not only embedded in our monthly but also throughout the course of the day, and they're going to be displayed broadly in our cafeteria. And we are working on a common language to go with our Riley Rises for those expectations so that if you're in the cafeteria or you see a custodian in the hallway or you're riding that bus, we're going to be speaking that same language. Our student success was our second Riley goal. Some of the highlights include academic growth strategies. We had benchmarked in September, and we had 174 students in September that had met proficiency. Over the course of the year, our highlights have been to increase that growth. That was in ELA. Unfortunately, I can't say as we have increased that number in ELA dramatically, but the next slide will show you what we have been able to achieve. But another highlight is our instructional alignment. We have increased the number of targeted Tier 2 interventions through our IST team, which is an intervention support team that we meet every 5 weeks. We talk about students that have had referrals for academic progress or lack of, and then we've created designated people to take care of those interventions. We have been collaborating and really trying to be creative with some substitute shortages. And our attendance and engagement, our attendance committee has created a flow chart, and we've really been working hard on our family outreach. This is a data chart that shows our ELA proficiency. You can see from the blue was the beginning of the year, the green was the end of the year proficiency growth for our K-6 literacy. It does indicate that our early elementary strengths are really projected at our K-2 level. We are noticing that the trajectory has really shown some positive growth. But in addition to that, it also shows that our 3 through 6 grades really need to have some more focused instruction and targeted interventions moving forward. As far as our math proficiency, this definitely is a huge achievement that we're very proud of. From the fall, which is the skinny line, to the spring, which is the bigger line, we've actually gone from 9% proficiency in the fall to 43% proficiency in the springtime, and that is a huge progress. This is just a quick breakdown where you can see from fall to spring where each one of our grade levels have been able to showcase academic growth. Our kindergarten has flourished, our first grade has flourished, our second grade has flourished. We're looking at those green bars and seeing that needle move. Our third, our fourth, our fifth, and our sixth grade have continued to show progress throughout the year. And our math program with iReady, and we're on Boost regularly, and we are really starting to move the needle, showing at every single grade level some successful expansion. I spoke a minute about the IST, which is our instructional support team. It's something that we are really, really proud of. In the last few years, we have really tried to hone our skills on how can we meet those needs above and beyond our tier 1, 2, and 3 approaches. And we have a team of dedicated people that have risen up to help our students. At the beginning of the year, we had 31 students that truly needed to be on our IST team. Those are recommended from teachers seeing a lack of growth, grade level wise. 3 of those students have moved away, so we currently had 128 students in our IST. From there, we've been able to relinquish, after seeing big growth, 4 of our students are on watch, and we will keep them on watch till the beginning of the year to see if the academic slide occurred or if they need more support. 2 students have graduated out, which means that those interventions have helped them. And out of all of the students, we have had 12 regular interventions happening daily from 12 different interventionists. That is not our AIS teachers or our RTI teachers. Those are our teachers, art teachers, people on our committee who have chosen to come out, find those 5 to 10 extra minutes to work with our students. And to me, that's huge support that deserves recognition. Our community connections goal, we have partnered, our partnership strengthening has truly been a focus. Our HSA has a brand new board. They are above and beyond excited about being there and helping Riley achieve. We've had increased involvement as far as teachers and staff. We have higher numbers than any of the 3 years that I've been here. They have moved their meetings to a time when teachers can attend more regularly. We've done Girls on the Run. Our engagement has improved. We had our garden initiative in our year 2. We have partnered with all of those people up there for a very successful Riley Kid Garden that we were just able to unveil a brand new sign. It's definitely a source of pride for us to be able to put those vegetables back into our community. And we also have some expanded engagement on a variety of offerings you can see up here that we have done, improving the amount of times that our families can come in. Last but not least, our operational systems. We have improved our communication infrastructure, both with emails, texts, and Parent Square apps. We currently are sitting at a 99.8% participation rate, which equals 1 family member, just 1 mom who doesn't believe in using the internet, doesn't believe in anything other than a hard copy. Everybody else, we are gathering help through this infrastructure that we have. We've created some streamlined processes, and we have done some really great family onboarding this year that we haven't done in the past. We've been reaching out to our families, getting them right at kindergarten orientation, and getting everybody signed right up. Here is the Parent Square usage, and here's our communication infrastructure, and I believe, yes. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
I just want to hear from Ray. Was that good? Was that okay? Okay, that's all I wanted. Have a good night. Any questions, really?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
last but not least, all right, my goal is to try to get through this as efficiently as I can with respecting your time. So I had prepared a bunch of things, and Dr. Kilmer had let us know that maybe we should shorten up. So I have a condensed version. So again, the same 4 things, I'm not going to read them to you. Those are our 4 goals that we're really working on this year. So how did we do? For school, climate, and culture, we have established monthly collaborative time for our core level teachers. They're able to meet once a month at the current schedule. Moving forward to next year, we're excited to have weekly opportunities for our teachers to collaborate. Buck Pride has created a school-wide behavior matrix that was implemented along with Buck Pride. It's great to have things on the wall. It's great to have things implemented, but the next step is what do we do with it? Because everybody needs to know it, live it, breathe it, speak it. So that is something that is ongoing that we're continuing. We have our academic support program. It's an after-school program for students that were not passing classes. 4 days a week, students are able to stay with a teacher to actually get extra help and to improve their grades, and I'll talk a little bit more about that moving forward. And then attendance incentives. Students the opportunities of falling off the attendance wagon, of getting them engaged, getting them back into school, and then what's in it for them. Middle school is all about what do I get if I give you anything. So how do we encourage students to keep doing that? So those next steps are weekly collaborative time for teachers, increasing our signage and our branding in our building, as well as having students know what it is and using the common language throughout. Our team time will be dedicated to those tier 2 interventions, but also extensions and pushing students. And that leads right from that collaborative time. So as teachers give an assessment, the assessment data is looked at. What do our students need? How do we group them into what they need, and how do we support them built into their day? So it's not like they teach an entire unit, they get a test, and they're not doing well on it, and we're 10 weeks in. So how do we stop that along the way and support our students? And then our end of the year staff and climate and survey is coming out soon. I don't have the data yet, but that will come at the end of the year of what went well, what can we continue to work on, and that will go back to our guiding coalition of what do we need to change and how do we need to change our day-to-day operation to support our staff as well as our students. So a little bit right here, one of the big focuses on our SBIT team was behavior. And in order to have baseline data, we really need to document it. So don't be alarmed by that over 600. That's a little alarming if you look at it. That is our students that were considered cutting class. One of the things that we had to focus on is students actually getting to class and actually staying in the room. So not going to the bathroom, taking 7 loops, stopping at the guidance office, whatever that was. And in order to do that, we had to define what does it mean to cut class, and we had to have the data to support it. So every instance has to be recorded. That number looks really high. That's 32 students that make that number that high. So know that out of almost 600 students, 32 are making that number that high. So now what do we do with it, and what do we put into place? What I do want to point out and celebrate is we've reduced fighting 56% in our building this year. A lot of it has to do with the fact that the kids are not in the hallways at the same time with our current schedule. And while that was concerning that there'd be a lot of moving parts, the nice part is there's less time for a whole building to engage at once, significantly reducing that, as well as the cell phones. Without the cell phones in their hands, they're not organizing those fights happening. So we're excited about that. And we've reduced disruptive behavior by 25%. Again, really working with our team of focusing in on what are those strategies to help support our students. We're not perfect. We have a lot of work to do, but I'm excited next year to show you our growth, especially on getting kids engaged in class. This is month by month, just some more data about it, of when we see the spike. So we start in September, and then it starts to spike after that holiday break. That longer break time seems to have more difficulties students getting re-engaged and staying engaged in school. I'm excited, though, to see that we are on the downward trend. I know June is early, but we are on the downward trend, and we have put some things in place. So increase in our tier 2 strategies, increase in hall duty schedules, having staff in the hallway, having our teachers in the cafeteria and in the hallway has significantly reduced the number of situations that we have versus having support staff. So how do we shift and utilize the team that we have? Really determining the function of the behavior and working as a team to figure that out. And we do have the TCI behavior coach coming in to support us moving forward. Our attendance data. So if you're looking at it, on the left is the 25-26 school year. On the right is the year prior, our 24-25. What you're going to notice that we're pretty consistent at 90% and 89% for our 8th grade, but we have work to do. So we can always strive. Our goal is 95% attendance overall. We still have some work to do. Consistency is great, but that's not an increase. 4% is something to celebrate, but we have more growth to go. So what are we going to do about it? Explicit attendance expectations. We have to educate our families. A lot of times when we say chronic absent to our families, they have no idea that 18 days or less is chronically absent. They don't have that knowledge base. So how do we explain that? How do we reteach those expectations with our students? How do our counselor caseloads, how do they do interventions, weekly check-ins, incentives, contacts home? And then our tier 3, those chronic kids, what are we doing to really track their attendance, to have students track their attendance? Because again, students need to internalize what that looks like, and how do we encourage trusted adults to get that going, and weekly communication with families. When we talk about student success, we're talking about our priority standards. Yes, we've had collaboration time. Yes, we've established a tier 2 time, but our biggest bang for the buck is going to be tier 1. So how do we work with our teachers to identify what it is we're teaching? Let's go back to what's unit 1. What are we calling it? What are we teaching? How are we assessing it? How do we know if kids know it? What do we do if they don't? What do we do if they do? Those are the questions that our PLT teams are really working at, and having those common formative assessments. If I'm in 7th grade social studies, I should have the same assessment in any other 7th grade social studies class. It shouldn't be different. We're assessing kids on the same thing because otherwise our data doesn't match. It doesn't make any sense. So how are we doing that? High school credit classes offered. Last year, we are excited that this year we have the first 7th grade cohort going through our world language program, so students are taking French and Spanish. We're excited that they will be taking the test at the end of their 8th grade year. Our goal is that 100% of students will leave with a world language credit to go to the high school, which is exciting. We're very excited for that. As well as something that we've done is the Principals Award. So 18 students last semester, quarter 3, received an award from me. Shout out to them from going from completely failing their classes to passing or exceeding the expectations in their classes. We want to celebrate not only our top 50 students, which we did have a wonderful night doing. How about those kids that are working really, really hard, staying after school, getting their grades up? So how do we encourage those students to also, I'm really proud of you. You went from a 46 to a 67. It's passing, it's little, but it's a growth. So how do we celebrate those wins? When we look at iReady data from our spring to our fall, what you'll notice is our proficiency in 7th grade and 8th grade is at the top. The shorter one is our spring. The longer one is our fall data. You will see that there is an increase in the green, which means the number of students that are reaching proficiency. In our yellow, you will see that that number is increased a little bit, but you'll notice our red is decreasing. The difference between this that I really want to point out is this is one benchmark, and this is great data, but what about those day-to-day class data? I'm hoping to show a comparison more specifically next year of the work the students are doing on their common assessments and how students are growing there to be able to compare to this. Because again, yes, we're seeing growth and our students are achieving growth, but not to the level in which we're seeing it on state test results and beyond. And so how do we make that move? This is our math data. You will see a significant increase in our proficiency in math and a more significant decrease in our students that are far below grade level. But again, is that going to show us the data that we need to show proficiency on state assessments? So how do we engage our students on those common assessments, and how do we use that data to drive more decision making than we already are? So next steps, continued PLT time that focuses on data-driven instruction on Tier 1. What are we teaching? How are we assessing it? And what are we doing when the students are not learning, or if they are learning and exceeding? And that team time is built in for all core teachers to support student learning. The team time daily extension for the remediation, more opportunities for special areas. One of the things that we've always had at the middle school, those of you that have children that have gone through, is that 9th period advisory that's been opposite of ensembles. We're shifting that a little bit and offering other opportunities for special areas. So students that are in resource will have opportunities to attend some special areas that they've missed because of other scheduling conflicts, as well as even our honor students that are out for labs will have the opportunity to pick that up. So we're excited about that. And then continued academic support after school program that's really made a shift and a difference to hold kids not only accountable, but a shift in their growth and their ability to get on track. So we're excited for that as well. Our community connections, one of the big pushes is a technology night. How do we get our parents with their devices in the building and get them connected to Parent Square, to School Tool, to make sure that they understand how to check grades? And so this is a joined event that will happen in the fall, right after a couple weeks into school. I don't know the exact date yet, with the high school. So it's a combined secondary experience. We bring families in. We have technology present. We want them to bring the laptop, bring the cell phone, whatever it is. How do we get you connected and show you how to actually utilize the platforms that we are? Career Fair is planning this summer. We will have a fall career fair. We did send our students to the Career Summit at City BOCES, but we want an in-house, bring our community in. We have Celebrate in Oswego. We have a lot of opportunities. Let's showcase that, get kids involved in thinking about what are some of the things they'd like to do and how can we make that more exciting in their day-to-day. Parent Square, continued connections, obviously, in our school website. Our school website is always a work in progress, but we really need to streamline that, put some faces and names on there so that we know who we're talking to, make it user-friendly for families to find the information that they need, and make it updated on a monthly basis. So we are excited. We have 99.8% of our families are connected. It is one parent, not a family, one parent that does not have a working email address and does not want to relinquish that for whatever reason. What we are really excited about is the fact that we do get the message out. But again, how are we making sure that the families are utilizing that message? And again, this is just the data from Parent Square, that the text message seems to be the most frequently used, whereas email is next, and then we have less engaged with the notifications on the actual app. So just some data for us to continue to look at. Operational systems, we also have an established hub. It's a big hyperlink that anything you can need from Fill Your Bucket, which is a weekly staff incentive that we anonymously can say, hey, shout out to the math teacher for helping a kid after school, or shout out to the teacher assistant who helped a student in the hallway that was having a crisis. Anything that we see, we try to shout out, and teachers shout out each other, so that's right on our hub, as well as anything from our students that make coffee on Fridays and deliver it. You can sign up right on our hub. Anything that the teachers will need, schedules, forms, how do I do this, instructions, are all on there. It's also on there for us, so the office has one that nobody else has access to, but anything I might need, it's right there at my fingertips. As well as our weekly Parent Square communication. Our assistant principal does a wonderful job of sending those out. We work together. She gets them out on a weekly basis to tell families this is what's going on during the week, sports events, anything that they might need, as well as behavior support plans. We're really trying to communicate with families, again, about student behavior through the day to make sure that they understand this is what we're seeing, these are the things that we're doing, and give that feedback of how students are doing versus just the discipline referral. So how do we say, like, this is the intervention we're trying, these are some of the things that we're doing with your students, this is how they're doing. To have that open and honest communication, we tend to have better support from families when we have that open line. So this is just an example of our hub, just the beginning page. And this is one of our student tracking sheets with some of the different goals that we have that we connect with on what are the things that we're working on and what are the incentives if they're going to counseling, notes. And that's a weekly sheet that we have for our most intense students that we're working on. Questions, please ask.
Jim?
So when you were talking about students in the hallway, did you also have some data up there about attendance?
Yes.
How are we doing? I remember whatever it was, sometime around 2018, when we got dinged by the state as a school of concern, or however they wanted to label it. One of the reasons was the chronic absenteeism, and I know we tried to work a lot on that, and I just kind of wondered where we were now. I'm sorry if I missed that.
So, no, not at all. That was actually one of the slides that I did decrease. And so, yes, we still have, we've gone from 186, I believe it was, last year to 140. So we've seen a decrease in the chronic absenteeism. We're still not out of the woods. So how are we engaging those? And that goes back to those behavior contracts, meeting with families and bringing them in, sitting down and saying, what is it? What is the hurdle? Is it the bus? Is it 7 periods a day? What is the hurdle to getting you into the building? And then once we are in the building, how do we transition you into being able to function in that? A lot of it is we're seeing the mental health, we're seeing the anxiety of just walking through the door. So how do we build that support up, and how do we really connect those families? Because we all know if they're home, they're not engaged, and they're engaging in behavior outside of school that's not productive. So how do we get them in the building, and what does that look like once we get them in the building? How do we slowly transition them to a full day of expectation? Because what I've found is kids that are coming back from being chronically absent or being suspended for long term, going right back into that full day schedule, we're turning it right back around and having some negative behavior. So how do we slow it down a little bit and work with the family and the student to really engage them? Yeah. Anything else? I thank you for your time, and I'm excited to show you a different number. That's a good baseline for next year, so I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize for not asking earlier about committee reports, so I wasn't sure if we had anything from audit committee. Yep. Thank you, Jen.
The audit committee met this morning to review the internal audit. The audit focused on procedures related to the district payroll and grant management. The auditors made 3 suggestions related to the payroll procedures that are being addressed in the Developing Correction Action Plan. They also made 4 suggestions related to our grant procedures that are also being addressed in the Developing Correction Action Plan. And the internal audit, risk assessment, and corrective action plan will be presented to the board at the next regular meeting, June 23rd.
June 23rd. Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Yep, Tim?
I'll
Thank you.
give a quick one on facilities. I
'Cause
didn't
Sean's not
realize
here. It's your
nobody was
opportu-
showing up tonight. And just to run through what's going on around our campuses, the Blue Gym work continues at the high school. The high school library and technology work continues and is progressing nicely. If you're around the elementary schools, you see some pads being poured at Layton and at Riley and elsewhere. That's new generators going in which will finish up this summer. Buck Boulevard work, we had a little stumble with the city. We got that figured out, and that's going to progress nicely this summer. You have to correct me. The paddleball courts, pickleball.
Pickle.
Yeah, obviously, I don't play. Pickleball courts, we sealed them, and we should be able to use them pretty quick here as a community. And work that'll happen this summer, there's going to be some additional work at the high school here on some heating and getting some air conditioning and climate control in the new gym. Middle school have some bathroom work and work in the counseling area, and finish up some boiler work at our elementary schools. Concludes my report.
Thank you very much. And Sean wasn't here, so. Okay, so if I can get a motion for the consent agenda to accept, group together items A through E on the consent agenda, could I get a motion, please?
Move to accept.
Thank you, Tim. And a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jen. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So for personnel, we will be able to break this up a little bit, Julie. So we'll take items A and B together under personnel. Can I get a motion, please? Thank you, Jim. And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jen. There's no discussion, so all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And item C, recommendation for tenure. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jen. And a second? Second? Yeah.
I'll
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, no discussion, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
I have to abstain, please.
Okay, thank you. So it's 4-0, yeah, and 1. And so then from there on, items D through P under personnel, can I get a motion, please?
I'll move.
Thank you, Julie. And a second? Okay.
What?
No, I went,
No, I
as I said, C, yes. I pulled out C, that was the one. Okay.
Oh,
Thank you very much. I
okay.
appreciate that. No, no.
Okay. Yep,
Mhm.
yep, yeah, we got to do that one again.
Okay, yeah,
Yep, sorry.
thank you. Jim, our parliamentarian, would there be any correct way that we need?
You can just call the vote again.
Okay, we'll call the vote again on item C, please, for administrative recommendation of tenure.
Is that what you were saying?
Yes. Okay, so can I get a motion, please?
Well,
I'll
you-
move.
you-
Oh, so,
The motion and the second
second,
stand. it's just a
stand?
revote.
Great, so the revote, that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? No, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Okay. All right, and if I can combine items D through F, can I get a motion for those, please?
Move it.
Thank you, Tim. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries 5-0. Now we will pull out item G. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion on G, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Jim. And second? Thank you, Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
Thank you. Now I got that in the right place. Thank you so much. That motion carries 4-0 and 1. So now we will go H through P, items H through P. Got to get a motion for that, please.
I'll move.
Thank you, Julie. And the second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tim. No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. So now we'll move on to finance. Item A, FSA agreement between PA Group and Oswego City School District. Could I get a motion for that, please?
I'll move.
Thank you, Julie. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jen. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And I would like to combine items B and C, if I may, without objection. All in favor?
Move
Or,
it.
excuse me, move it. Thank you. First motion. Thank you, Tim. And can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jim. And just any discussion on that? It's just the usual place. I'd like to say thank you to any donations from the community, from David and Amy Watson, and also on Donors Choose, the teacher at Riley, Rachel Valance, and say thank you very much for what they do. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item D, post-insurance tax compliance policies and procedures for tax-exempt bond obligation. Thank you, Tim. A second? Thank you, Jen. All in favor? Oh, excuse me, any discussion? No. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. E is a contract between Upstate Cerebral Palsy and the Oswego City School District. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Jim. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Julie. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Again, motion carries 5-0. Item F, sign language interpreting agreement. Could I get a motion
make
for
the
that? Thank you, Jen. And a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you,
One of us.
Tim. Any discussion on that? No? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Contract between Oswego County Opportunities and Oswego City School District. Could I get a motion for that, please?
I'll move.
Thank you, Julie. A second. Thank you. Any discussion? No? I just think it's, I'd just like to say it's great that we have a partner like them to work in the district, work with them, and that's for our McKinney-Vento students, so we appreciate it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And finally, H, budget transfer, Superintendent Office. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Tim. And a second? Thank you, Jen. I see a pattern. Any discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And that brings us to items from the board. Do we have any items from the board? No? All right. We have no items from the board. So, do we have a need for executive session? Yes, I believe we do, and I'm just, the reason I was going to personnel, yeah. And the reason will be for personnel. Will there be need for a vote afterwards? No, there will be no need for a vote. So can get a motion to move to executive session.
Move it.
Thank you, Tim. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, everybody.